Hey, family. Welcome back to the channel. It's Friday night, so it's time for our sip and study. So excited. So tonight I am sipping on some soursop leaf tea. I'm actually making some soursop lemonade for this weekend. So I'm really excited. So I just took a little bit off and made some tea as well. I love me some soursop. It is super high in vitamin C. It kills cancer cells. It helps reduce inflammation. It helps control blood pressure. It helps control blood sugar. Good for digestive health. I always compare it to Airborne. If you ever heard of Airborne, I think a teacher created it so she could stop getting sick in the classroom. And when I tell you, I used it faithfully and it worked. So you would take tablets, you put it one tablet in some water, let it dissolve, drink it right before you go into a crowd of people. And it worked amazing. Well, I've been drinking soursop for some years now, and it has replaced my Airborne. So I know if I'm going in a place with a whole lot of people, it's crowded, I definitely have my soursop. Or if I'm feeling a little something coming on, I drink me some soursop and it'll get it right on out the way, right? So soursop is known as guanabana. It's a large tropical fruit native to Central and South America. Um, you can use the fruit or the leaves. I have leaf tea, and it's absolutely amazing. Like I love it. I love and the lemonade is off the ever chain. Like okay, so last week we started our sip and study and we was debunking the myths that I'm a witch and I'm involved in witchcraft. Absolutely not. We went back to the word Genesis 1:29, which is our foundational scripture for sip and study. And so we was able to see how God created everything before the fall of man for us, with us in mind, and the things that we were going to need in the years and centuries and decades and stuff to come, right? So everything that we need is already here in the earth realm. So now we just need to know, what do we do with it? How do we use it? Right now that we know that, okay, God, we can use herbs. It's not divination. It's not witchcraft. I can use this, right? Because a lot of people are refusing to use what God has already created, and you're just prolonging your health issues that you really don't have to. And you can actually get ahead of it if you use these herbs and spices in your regular everyday cooking. And we're going to talk about that tonight. Okay. So let's jump right on in. Let's jump right on in. Um, let's start with the basics, right? So we know that one, we can use herbs. So that's exciting, right? So we can use herbs. Now we need to know how to use them. So what exactly is an herb? Okay, so an herb is any plant with leaves, seeds, or flowers. God gave us the whole plant to use, right? You use the seeds, you use the root, you use the stalk, you use the leaves, you use the fruit, you use all of it. All of it has benefits because God is just so intentional like that. And you use them for flavoring, use them for food, for medicine, or perfume. Okay, so we're going to break those things down: the flavoring, the food, the medicine, and the perfume. So, for flavoring, also garnishing, right? They do the same things. Flavoring as the enhances the taste, and the garnishing is for the appearance, so it looks pretty, right? And so there are herbs and spices that help with the flavoring and the garnishing, such as basil, rosemary, mint, chives. Have you used these before? There are some people who don't know that you use the herbs on a regular basis. You just thought, oh, I just use it because that's what I'm used to. It's what I saw. It makes it look pretty. They all have health benefits, every single one of them. Um, so I just think, God is just so intentional. I just love it. Spices, let's talk about the spices in particular. They're dried plant parts, such as the seeds, the bark, the root, the fruits, and they're also used as flavorings, right? So the herbs and spices were created for us to use for the flavoring of our food, to enhance it, to replace the salt and sugar that you put in your food, right? Because these have natural flavors in them that are so much better than iodized salt and this processed sugar. Okay, it's so much better. So the herbs, um, I also use fresh or dried. You can use fresh or dried herbs. So fresh, you can get that from the store. You grow it yourself. Use them fresh, or when they dry, you can grind them into powder if that's what you want to do. Or once you dry them, you can still use those as flavoring and garnishing as well. They won't have as much of a potent taste, but you can use either way, fresh or dried. Um, so the fresher though, the more intense the flavor. The more intense the flavor. So herbs I use fresh or dried. Spices are usually dried, like cinnamon, things of that nature are usually dried. Herbs are typically the leaves, the stems, the flowers of a plant. Spices are the dried plant parts. We need to make sure that we know which one is which. Okay, which one is which. So fun fact: when we get to perfume, right? Perfumery was actually a big thing in the Bible. It was actually a big thing in the Bible. It was used for personal adornment. It was used for worship, embalming, funeral rituals, fragrances like spikenard. Have you ever heard of spikenard? Spikenard was the oil in the alabaster box. You remember that song? You don't know the cost of my oil. That was the oil in the alabaster box, spikenard. It was mentioned in the Song of Solomon, in Mark, and in John. Um, and there's other fragrances like the frankincense and myrrh as well. Okay. So I gotta give y'all biblical references so y'all know that all of these things are from God, right? So herbs is medicine. So we know what an herb is, we know what spices are. We probably found out we use some of these on an everyday basis, which is absolutely amazing because it takes the place of iodized salt and processed sugar. You can use them fresh, you can use them dried, and they all have health benefits. Okay, they all have health benefits. So now my specialty is using herbs as medicine. Okay, so all herbs and spices have their benefits, but when you get into using it medicinally, there's certain ways that you use them so you get the most out of them so they can help whatever ailment you're taking it for, right? When you use it just as flavoring or garnishing, you're using it as everyday preventative type care. But when you get into using it for um, to specifically lower your blood pressure, like it's way too high, you need to get it down pretty quickly and on a regular basis, then the medicines that you choose need to be curated for that. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do all that. So herbal medicine is also known as phytomedicine. So, and that involves using plants and their parts to treat illnesses and improve overall health. Okay, so what is phytomedicine? So, phytomedicine is a field of science that explores the use of plants and herbs for treating human ailments, also known as herbal medicine. Okay, herbal medicine. It's also known as botanical medicine or alternative medicine, which I don't like the word alternative because this is the original. But that was sometimes people say alternative medicine. So phyto, originated from a Greek word meaning plant. Phyto meaning plant. Okay. Medicine originates from the Latin word medicina, which means the art of healing, aka to heal. Okay. So these are plants that were made to heal specifically. Okay. Now, all herbs and spices have their benefits, but they also have cautions. Okay. A lot of times people just jump in using herbs as medicine. You don't know what you're doing. and you might make something worse, or you might get sick, or something, and then you want to blame the herb. Oh, it don't work. It made me sick. No, there's just certain herbs that you use certain ways at certain times, depending on what your tissue state is. If you have a hot excitation tissue state, then you can't use a warming herb or a bitter herb because you need to cool your insides off, right? So you need to know which herbs are which and what they gonna do. That's when a clinical herbalist comes into place and we can kind of help you decipher what you need for your body. Okay, because not all herbs are safe for everybody. There's just not. So you got to know which one is which. Okay, so not all herbs are safe for everybody. Some can cause adverse reactions. They can interact with medications, or they can be toxic at high doses. Okay, you have to be careful. I try my herbs out every time I get them. I try them out first. I have a high resistance and a high tolerance. And so I test mine out first. So to make sure of the doses that I use, because oftentimes in the African American community, we have high resistance and we have high tolerance. And so we tend to use more than we're supposed to of whatever it is, because that's just how we are. So I tested to make sure there's no adverse reactions for me, and then I lower that dosage when I'm talking to clients to say, hey, minimum this much, maximum this much, because it depends on your body makeup how much you exactly need. Okay. The effectiveness and safety of herbal remedies can vary depending on the individual, the specific herb, and the preparation method. So, how was it made, right? Is it in a tea? Is it in a capsule? Is it in a tincture? Is it in a honey? Is it in an elixir? Some herbs are better used in certain ways. Okay. So, for example, we use lobelia. Lobelia is absolutely amazing for nicotine addiction. It's great for smokers who use cannabis. It clears out your lungs. Like it works along with mullein. And y'all heard a lot about mullein from me too, because that's my go-to. Mullein is a lung detox. So lobelia is very, very awesome. But what we found out, it was the first and only herb that I've ever tried that actually had an effect on me and my husband. We was like, we was sick, like kind of the stomach nausea thing. Our heads was kind of spinning. We had headaches. We was like, what is going on? Oh, the lobelia, because we was trying it, right? So what we found, it was better to smoke it than it is to put it in the tea. It's safer that way because lobelia is very, very toxic. Very toxic. So it's better to smoke it. So I put it in a smoke blend. I do not sell it as a tea because I know what it has the possibility to do. And I'm not going to put my clients in that type of danger, right? Because, sometimes people don't listen and you tell them don't use over this much, but then they use over that amount and then they would have come and say, hey, you made me sick. No, no, you didn't listen. So I don't even sell it as a tea at all. I sell it in a smoke blend. And so when I tell people I smoke it, we smoke it in a pipe. We don't even roll it up as, a joint or anything like that. We put it in a pipe and you can add it into your cannabis. You can use it when it comes to nicotine addiction. It clears out your lungs. It detoxifies. So you get the nicotine out of your system. It's absolutely amazing. But again, you have to be extremely careful with it because that's one of the toxic herbs. Okay? So be very, very careful. Very, very careful. So we have phytomedicine, right? So plants that heal. That's herbal medicine, the original medicine, right? So photomedicine has photochemicals. So photochemicals are naturally occurring compounds that are found in plants that are believed to have various health benefits. Look how good God was, y'all. So he created the plants with compounds already in them, right? There's already in the seed, and so those compounds are activated when it's watered and when there's sunlight. It's activated. Like there is no mixing some stuff up to activate it. You ain't gotta dance around it. You ain't got to do all of that. He created it to he created the seed so that the compounds could be excited, right? And activated with water and sunlight. He's so intentional, right? He's like, I got y'all. Y'all ain't even got to worry about it. I got y'all. So research suggests that photochemicals may help protect against cancer, cardiovascular disease, and other health problems. Photochemicals can act as antioxidants, which help protect the cells from damage caused by free radicals. Okay? Photochemicals are chemicals produced by plants through their metabolism. They contribute to the plant's color, their flavor, and their aroma. Photochemicals are abundant in a variety of plant-based foods, including fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. God knew what he was doing. All we got to do is go back to the original design. He's already created everything that we would ever need in our fruits, in our vegetables, in our herbs, in our spices. Everything is already done. It don't have to be manipulated in any way whatsoever. It amazes me. The more I study, the more I find out, the more I learn. God is absolutely amazing. His intentionality, his love for us is, oh my goodness, right? So photochemicals, you'll see them when it comes to the color of the food, how it smells, how it tastes, all of that. So these are different types of photochemicals. Okay, there are different types. Herbs are rich in various photochemicals. The effectiveness of herbs often stems from the combined action of these various photochemicals. This is known as synergy. Okay, so synergy is how well do these herbs work together. Okay, so you take two herbs, let's say mullein and nettle, or ginkgo and bacopa, or turmeric and ginger. Not all herbs go together. Okay. So we know that not all herbs are safe, right? So you got to make sure what herb you're taking is it right for your particular body type, which depends on your tissue state, it depends on your dosha state. Is this herb going to work for you? Then, if this herb is going to work for you, is there another herb that will also work for you that will work together? They're good all by themselves, but they're forced when they're together, right? And so some herbs don't go together. Some herbs you can't put together because they might cancel out each other's herbal action. And we'll get to herbal actions in a little bit. But they might cancel each other's herbal action. So then there's no point of you taking it, right? You might as well take them separately or just take one. Okay. And saying if you do take both and you take them separately, you got to do them like 4 hours apart so that your body can recognize the herbal action and go from there. Okay. But there are some herbs like Bacopa and Ginkgo, absolutely amazing together because they both help cognitive function. Ginkgo helps with like brain fog. It helps with dementia patients a lot, stroke victims a lot. But Bacopa is more for learning, right? So ginkgo is for retaining, it's for memory, and the bacopa is for learning. And you put them together off the ever living chain. I love it. We have any type of brain fog. It helps with ADHD. It helps you focus. By themselves, they're good. Okay, by themselves, but together, you would definitely feel a difference. Turmeric and ginger have synergy because by themselves, they're great, but you put them together, they both have anti-inflammatory properties. So if you deal with chronic inflammation, turmeric and ginger together is going to be your go-to if your tissue state allows it, because both of those are warming herbs. And so if you're a tissue state of heat excitation, it's not gonna be good for you, right? It'll help a little bit, but it might exacerbate your symptoms. But if you have damp stagnation, which is what I have, um then turmeric and ginger is absolutely amazing because it dries you out. If you retain a lot of mucus, a lot of earwax, you have frequent allergies, stuffy nose, congestion, then most likely you have stagnation. And so you need a herb that's going to dry those things up and out. Okay, in which I do. I have asthma, which means there's excess mucus in my lungs. And so when I take turmeric and ginger, it helps with the mucus, it helps with the allergies and the congestion. It dries all of that up. It's absolutely amazing. So herbal synergy is absolutely amazing. And that's what I go to. I specialize in immunology and chronic illnesses. And so I combat inflammation strong because inflammation opens the door for flare ups and symptoms. No matter what your ailment is, no matter what the diagnosis is, inflammation is the key. Along with stress, because it's another thing that I address as well. But chronic inflammation opens that door for chronic illness to come in. That's the basis for chronic illness. I'm telling you, we'll talk more about that later. But that's why I specialize in what I do, because in the African American community, we all have chronic stress and a lot of times chronic inflammation. Even if it comes and goes, it's still chronic because it never goes away too long. And there's certain things that you could do to help your body not have to go through that inflammation back and forth. It's just not good. It's not good at all. So depending on what your ailment is, would depend on what herbs you need for that chronic inflammation. And God was so good. He knew we was gonna have issues with chronic inflammation because a lot of herbs have the herbal action of anti-inflammatory. A lot of herbs. So we just got to figure out which one is best for you so that you can receive the benefits, see the difference, and, be able to go from there. Okay. So now I got a few more minutes. Let's get into herbal actions. Okay. Told you I love what I do. I love teaching and I love herbs. So there are a multitude of herbal actions. So herbal actions are the verbs of herbalism. Okay. So herbal action is what the herb does. And I'll be teaching y'all the basics. I'll be teaching y'all the basics of how to go from, okay, this is what's going on with me. So what do I need? What herbal action do I need? Once you know what's going on with you, right? What herbal action that you need, then you can see what herbs fall under that herbal action. And depending on which herbs is best for you, you could go from there with using one or using two. Okay. So there are different herbal actions. There's tons of herbal actions. We'll go over just a few. Okay. So adaptogens. Adaptogens help the body adapt to stress and improve overall resilience. Adaptogens are absolutely amazing because what did I say? Stress and inflammation in the Black community is the key, is the open door for chronic illnesses. So adaptogens help your body adapt to the stress that you incur on an everyday basis. So you looking at holy basil, you looking at gotu-kola, you looking at some lemon balm. Herbs are going to help your body not release as much cortisol because cortisol is the stress hormone, right? So your body releases this cortisol. It develops the inflammation, right? And then the longer you stay inflamed, the more likely it is for a chronic illness to come through that open door in whatever any area of your body, right? Inflammation of the lungs, inflammation of the kidneys, inflammation of the liver, these in your cirrhosis, asthma, diabetes, there's inflammation. So if we could address inflammation with some adaptogens, right? We can that's when we get to reducing the symptoms and reducing the flare-ups. The goal is always to get you into remission, right? I don't use the word cure because I can help get you in remission. That I can do. I can get you in remission. I can and get you to few symptoms and few flare ups. I absolutely can. But it's going to be up to you to keep that up, right? I'm not with you all the time. So I can tell you what you can do. I should tell you what you should do. I can tell you what herbs you need, what food, the exercises, all of that. But if you don't do it, you're going to go back into flare up. Okay, you're gonna go back to flare up mode. So I use the word remission. My goal is always to get my clients and my customers to remission. Okay, and I've been very successful at doing so. Some don't stay in remission, right? Then they have to come back like, okay, I got to start all the way over. And I'm here, that's what I'm here for. But if you continue doing what we've talked about, what you implemented, what you know works, you'll stay in remission and you'll stay in remission longer. Okay. All right, I got about 5 minutes. So, alteratives. So, they support the body's natural healing processes and improve overall health and vitality. Okay, so alternatives, they're going to alter, right, the body's natural healing processes to help your body heal itself. Okay, so our alternatives are usually given when you have like mild blood pressure, mild sugar issues. These are for mild things. It kind of helps your body alterative. It alters your body to be able to heal itself from these mild things. It's not really for chronic illnesses. This is from more like preventative type care, where they say, oh, you're pre-diabetic. Okay, so you need an alternative that's going to actually help to heal from the inside out so it doesn't get out of hand. Okay, you have tonics. Tonics strengthen and restore the body's systems, digestive system, respiratory system, pulmonary system, right? Increases the vitality and energy. So it strengthens your kidney system, right? It's going to strengthen these things. Because sometimes our bodies, they get tired, right? We always eating, first of all, and we go get into fasting and all of that too. But if you always eating, your body's always moving, always working, you'll give your body time to rest, right? So you're wearing out your organs, you're wearing out your vessels, you're wearing out your body. So you need to be strengthened. Your organs need to be strengthened. That's what tonics do. They kind of tighten it up, right? They tonify. Analgesics, those provide pain relief. Love me some analgesics, okay? If you have any type of chronic pain, analgesics is the way to go. We have several. White willow has been the one we've been using a lot recently. It is absolutely amazing. It has the same compounds, so these words, psilocybin, the same compound that's in aspirin, but this is a natural form. There's no side effects. It's good for children. It's good for older adults. It is amazing. I usually um, refer that for like pain, joint pain. Um, Definitely joint pain. But it's good for headaches. I use it all the time. White willow is a thing. My husband has been diagnosed with osteoporosis in his spine. And for a while, it was hard for him to move and walk and do the analgesics, got him all the way together, along with some other herbs. But the pain part, because anybody with osteoporosis, it is extremely painful. And so he's been in remission now. For He was diagnosed 9 months ago, so he's in remission now. And one of the herbs that we used was analgesic white willow bark. Absolutely amazing. I mentioned anti-inflammatory, so that reduces inflammation. Antispasmodics, they relieve muscle spasms and cramping. So if you have heavy cramps, right? Muscle spasm. If you work out, if you have muscle spasms, you could be low in calcium, you could be low in potassium. You got to look at those things as well. But antispasmodic herbs help your body to reduce the spasms and the cramping. So I used to have bad cramps before I started using herbs. And so I use antispasmodics along with analgesics to help me with the cramping. Helps amazingly. Okay, and there are a lot of antispasmodics. Peppermint's an antispasmodic. Um, Ginger and turmeric. There's a lot, and so for me, I would use peppermint and white willow bark, and then mugwort too. Oh, look, if you are cramping real bad, you have period issues, let me know because I got you because I got myself all the way together. You have antibacterials. So that's going to combat what? Bacterial infections. You have antiviral herbs. What do that do? It fights antiviral or viral infections, right? So when you get sick, especially in the wintertime, you need to know if it's bacterial or viral. If it's bacterial, you go to the hospital, they probably got an antibiotic, right? But if it's viral, it's nothing they can do. All they can do is help you with the symptoms. There's nothing for that. Your body has to fight itself. So you introduce herbs, especially in that situation, because the herbs is going to shorten those symptoms, right? Depending on what symptoms you have, that's the herbs that you go for. They shorten those symptoms and you heal a whole lot faster. So antiviral herbs are the go-to. You need to be stocked up for the winter, definitely. Um, because a lot of them viruses going on are viral. There is no medication for that. Okay. And there are herbs that help you heal faster faster and easier and with no side effects. Okay. Nervines. This is the last one I do. Nervines, that supports the nervous system, often used for anxiety, stress, and sleep issues. Right. So nervines I use especially for my clients who have neuropathy, um, who have the nerve MS, because that deals with your nervous system, who have extremely a lot of stress. When I say stress and inflammation, right? So anti-inflammatories and nervines are absolutely number one. Usually an analgesic when I am working with my clients because that's what we're dealing with: chronic stress, chronic inflammation, and their pain, right? We got to get those together so that we can go to the root and heal the root. But those are usually the first lines of defense that you have to take care of first before you get to the root. Okay. So when my clients come to me, they say, I'm dealing with this, and this. Okay. So we're going to start off with anti inflammatories, analgesics, and nervines. And we're going to help the body to come into alignment with what we are trying to do. And from there, we'll see what we need. Okay. Um, there's so much more, y'all. But I'll be back next Friday, and we'll go a little deeper. We'll talk about some more herbs to follow up under these herbal actions. But that's the first thing that you need to know if you're going to self-diagnose. You need to know, okay, what are you dealing with? Right? What are you dealing with? And then depending on what you are dealing with, depends on what you need, what herbal action that you need. Okay. And we'll go over a process for that later on once I make sure that we got all this information down. But in what you need, and then depending on your tissue state and your dosha and all of that good stuff, you'll be able to create your own remedy for what you need. Okay. And that is my goal, to make sure that y'all have the tools that you need in order to create the medicine that you need to keep you living longer and healthier, not only for you, but your family, your children, right? Your community. We need more people who know the natural ways, the original ways to be able to heal, because things are getting way out of hand. Things are way out of hand right now. So we need this information. We need to be armed with the tools that I needed to be able to survive what is and what is to come. Okay. So thank y'all for being here. We'll be back again with another episode of Sip and Study next Friday, 10 o'clock. And until then, be blessed.